Florence Scovel Shinn sat with a woman in her Manhattan office in 1929, just weeks before the new year. The woman was prosperous, successful by every measure, yet she confessed something that revealed a profound spiritual truth. She said, "I'm terrified of next year. The economy feels unstable. My business might collapse. I can see myself losing everything." Shin looked at her and said something that changed not just that woman's upcoming year, but her entire understanding of how reality works. She said, "You are writing the script for your 1930 right now with those words, and unless you rewrite it before the new year begins, you will live exactly what you just described to me." The woman was shocked. She had thought she was simply expressing reasonable concern, but Shin explained that she was doing something far more powerful and dangerous. She was using the creative power of the spoken word to script her future into existence. And here's what makes this teaching urgent for you right now. We are weeks away from 2026, and whether you realize it or not, you are writing the script for your next year with every word you speak and every thought you hold about your financial future. The question is, are you writing a script of abundance or poverty, victory or defeat, divine supply or human limitation? Today, I am revealing Florence Scovel Shinn's exact technique for writing your prosperity script before the new year, and why the final weeks of December are the most spiritually potent time to claim your financial destiny. That woman in Shinn's office represents something most of us do without awareness. We allow fear, worry, and negative expectation to write the script of our future. We rehearse disaster. We speak lack. We imagine worst-case scenarios. And then we wonder why those exact situations manifest in our lives. Shin understood what modern psychology is only now discovering. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined future and a real experience. When you repeatedly visualize and verbalize financial struggle, your subconscious accepts that as the blueprint and begins manifesting circumstances to match it. But here's the remarkable part. The same creative mechanism works in reverse. When you consciously write a script of prosperity, speak it with conviction, and impress it upon your subconscious mind, that becomes your destiny. Not because you're magically making something happen, because you're aligning with spiritual law. Shin taught that there exists in divine mind a perfect plan for every person's life. Your prosperity is already established. Your abundance already exists, but you must claim it. You must write the script that matches divine reality instead of human fear. And the transition between years is what she called a threshold moment. A spiritually charged time when the veil between current reality and potential reality is thinnest. Let me show you exactly what happened to that woman who feared 1930. Shin instructed her to spend the remaining weeks of 1929 doing something specific. Every morning and every evening, she was to write out and speak aloud a detailed script of her ideal 1930. Not vague wishes, specific present tense declarations of what her business would look like, how much money would flow to her, what opportunities would appear, how she would feel. Shin gave her exact language to use. "I see myself in 1930 surrounded by divine prosperity. My business expands beyond my highest expectation. Clients seek me out. Money flows to me from expected and unexpected sources. I am divinely guided in every decision. I prosper in ways that surprise and delight me. Everything I touch turns to gold. I am a magnet for miraculous opportunities." The woman resisted at first. She said, "This feels like lying. My current circumstances don't support these statements." And Shin gave her a teaching that changed everything. She said, "You are not describing your current circumstances. You are commanding your future reality. Your word is your wand. When you speak these declarations, you are not hoping they become true. You are making them true through the creative power invested in you by divine mind. This isn't wishful thinking. This is spiritual law." The woman committed to the practice. Every day for the final 4 weeks of 1929, she wrote and spoke her prosperity script for 1930. And here's what's remarkable. 1930 was the beginning of the Great Depression. Businesses collapsed everywhere. Fortunes evaporated overnight. By every logical measure, that woman should have experienced the financial disaster she initially feared. But the opposite happened. Her business not only survived, it thrived. New clients appeared from unexpected sources. Opportunities emerged that had no logical explanation. Money flowed to her while others struggled. And when she met with Shinn a year later, she understood what had happened. She had written a different script than the mass consciousness of fear and lack. While millions of people were unconsciously scripting and manifesting poverty through their words and thoughts, she had consciously scripted prosperity. And Divine Mind responded to her faith, not to economic circumstances. This is the principle I need you to understand before we go any further. Your future is not determined by current circumstances, economic trends, or external conditions. Your future is determined by the script you are writing right now through your dominant thoughts and words. Shinn was adamant about this. She wrote in The Power of the Spoken Word, man is only a channel for infinite intelligence. When his word is spoken with wisdom and authority, it sets in motion subtle forces which eventually make it manifest. You are not at the mercy of chance or fate. You are a creative being with the power to script through consciousness. And right now, in these final weeks of 2025, you have a golden opportunity. You can either drift into 2026 with whatever unconscious script you've been running, or you can take authority and write the exact script you want to live. Let me give you another case that demonstrates this principle with stunning clarity. In December of 1933, a man came to one of Shinn's lectures completely broke. He had been unemployed for 2 years. His savings were gone. He was living with relatives. He had no prospects. He attended Shinn's talk on the last day of the year, and she taught this exact principle. She said, tonight, before this year ends, you are going to write the script for your 1934. And if you write it with faith and speak it with authority, it will manifest exactly as you command. The man was desperate enough to try anything. That night, he wrote out a detailed script. In 1934, I am gainfully employed in a position that uses my talents and pays me abundantly. I work with people who respect and appreciate me. Money flows to me easily. I have more than enough for all my needs and desires. I am prosperous, successful, and grateful. He spoke these words aloud with as much conviction as he could muster, even though his current circumstances screamed the opposite. On January 3rd, 1934, just 3 days into the new year, something extraordinary happened. He received a telegram from a former colleague he hadn't heard from in 5 years. The telegram said, I'm starting a new venture, and I immediately thought of, are you available? That telegram led to a position that not only employed him, but became the foundation of a successful career that lasted decades. When he shared this testimony with Shinn months later, she explained what had happened spiritually. She said, the moment you wrote and spoke that script with genuine faith, you sent a command into Divine Mind. That command set in motion invisible forces that rearranged circumstances, moved people, and created opportunities to manifest your spoken word. The telegram didn't come from coincidence. It came from divine intelligence responding to your clear instruction. This is how spiritual law works. You don't beg. You don't hope. You command. And the universe, which Shinn called Divine Mind, must respond to your faith-filled decree. Now, I want to address something critical because some of you are thinking this sounds too good to be true. You're wondering why everyone doesn't just write a prosperity script and become wealthy. Here's the truth Shinn discovered. Most people unconsciously write scripts of limitation every single day. They say, I can't afford that. Money is tight. I never have enough. I'm so broke. The economy is terrible. I'll probably lose my job. These aren't just casual statements. They are creative declarations that instruct Divine Mind to manifest lack. Your subconscious mind is listening to every word you speak and every thought you think, and it faithfully creates circumstances that match your dominant mental script. This is why Shinn was so adamant about monitoring your words. She wrote, watch your words. They are creating your world. If you want to know what you've been thinking and saying, look at your current circumstances. They are the perfect mirror of your consciousness. Stop here with me for a moment. I want to ask you something honest. What's your first thought when you see the price of something you really want? If your immediate response is, I can't afford that, or that's too expensive, you've just identified a poverty consciousness statement. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that these automatic thoughts are creating your financial reality. If you catch yourself speaking lack instead of abundance, comment "I speak lack habitually." This isn't shameful. It's just programming, and naming it is how you change it. Let's explore what happens when you consciously replace these statements. The reason most people don't experience the miraculous manifestations Shinn documented is because they write conflicting scripts. They might write "I am prosperous" on paper, but then spend the rest of the day saying and thinking "I don't have enough." The poverty script is dominant, so that's what manifests. Shinn taught that you must become vigilant about your words and ruthless about eliminating poverty talk from your vocabulary. This isn't about pretending you have money when you don't. It's about refusing to use your creative power to perpetuate lack. Instead of saying "I'm broke," you say "I am in the process of manifesting abundance." Instead of "I can't afford that," you say "That's not in alignment with my spending right now, but money flows to me easily." This might seem like semantic games, but Shinn understood these are creative commands that shape reality. Let me show you the exact process Shinn taught for writing their prosperity script for 2026. First, you get quiet and ask Divine Mind to reveal your perfect plan for the coming year. This isn't about forcing outcomes based on human ambition. It's about aligning with divine intention for your life. Shinn believed every person has a unique purpose, and that prosperity flows naturally when you're in alignment with that purpose. She taught your perfect self-expression is the divine plan for your life. When you discover and live that plan, success and abundance are inevitable. So you begin by asking, what is my divine assignment for 2026? What is the highest expression of my gifts and talents? How does Divine Mind intend to prosper me? You sit with these questions and allow answers to emerge. They might come as insights, as images, as a deep knowing. You're not making something up. You're receiving divine guidance. Second, you write out a detailed script of your ideal 2026 in present tense, as if it's already happening. This is crucial. You don't write "I will be prosperous." You write "I am prosperous." You don't write "I hope to make this amount." You write "Money flows to me abundantly, and I receive specific amount easily." You describe your ideal work situation, your financial state, your relationships, your health, your peace of mind. You include specifics. Where do you live? How do you feel when you wake up? What kind of opportunities are coming to you? Who are you working with? The more specific and vivid your script, the more powerfully it impresses your subconscious mind. Shinn gave an example in your word is your wand, where a woman wrote, "I have a beautiful home filled with beauty and comfort." She described the rooms, the furniture, the feeling of peace she experienced there. Within months, that exact home manifested in her life through a series of seemingly coincidental events. Third, you speak this script aloud daily with conviction and authority. This is where most people fail. They write beautiful scripts but speak them timidly, with doubt, as if they're pretending. Shinn taught that your words must carry the vibration of faith and authority. When you declare "I am abundantly supplied by Divine Mind," you're not asking permission. You're not hoping it might be true. You're stating spiritual fact with the authority given to you as a child of the divine. She said, "Speak your word with assurance. Say I have. Say I am. Never say I'm trying or I hope." These words undermine your demonstration. Your word is your wand. Wave it with confidence. This doesn't mean you fake feelings you don't have. It means you choose to align with spiritual truth regardless of current appearances. You decide that divine reality is more real than material circumstances. Fourth, you remain alert for signs of manifestation and acknowledge them immediately. This is what Shinn called watching for land. She compared it to Noah sending out the dove to look for evidence that the floodwaters were receding. You stay expectant, knowing that Divine Mind is working on your behalf. And when opportunities appear, when money comes from unexpected sources, when doors open, you don't dismiss them as coincidence. You recognize them as divine intelligence responding to your script, and you give thanks. Gratitude is magnetic. The more you acknowledge and appreciate the demonstrations that appear, the more demonstrations come. Shinn wrote, "Gratitude is closely linked to love and attracts the things that you desire." An attitude of gratitude makes room for more blessings. Now let me show you what happened when someone applied this exact process in modern time, because this isn't historical theory. In December of 2023, a woman in her 30s was facing what looked like financial disaster. Her industry was contracting. Her income had dropped 40%. She had debt accumulating. She felt panicked about 2024. Then she discovered Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings about scripting your year. She decided she had nothing to lose. She spent the last 2 weeks of December writing and speaking a detailed prosperity script for 2024. She declared, "I am divinely guided to my perfect work. Money flows to me from multiple sources. I am valued and well compensated. I have financial peace and abundance. All my needs are met and exceeded." She spoke this script every morning and every night, even when her bank account contradicted every word. In the first week of January 2024, she received a message on LinkedIn from a company she'd never heard of. They had found her profile and wanted to interview her for a position she hadn't applied for. That position turned out to be exactly what she had scripted. It utilized her skills, the people were aligned with her values, and the compensation exceeded her previous income. But here's what's even more remarkable. In the months that followed, additional income streams opened up that she hadn't even imagined. Consulting opportunities, a side project that took off, even an unexpected inheritance from a distant relative she barely knew. By the end of 2024, her income had more than doubled from her lowest point, and she had savings for the first time in years. When she reflected on what happened, she understood. She had written a clear script, spoken it with faith, and Divine Mind had orchestrated circumstances far beyond what she could have planned or forced. This is the power available to you right now as we approach 2026. You are standing at a threshold moment. The old year is ending. The new year is pregnant with possibility, and you get to decide what script you're going to live. Are you going to carry forward the same poverty consciousness, the same limiting beliefs, the same fearful expectations? Or are you going to take authority and write a script that reflects your divine inheritance? Shin taught that you are heir to the kingdom. That means unlimited abundance is your birthright. But you must claim it. You must speak it. You must script it into existence through alignment with spiritual law. Let me give you the spiritual reasoning behind why this works, because Shin wasn't teaching magical thinking. She was teaching metaphysical law. She believed, based on extensive study and experience, that there exists an infinite intelligence, a divine mind, that is the source of all supply. This intelligence is not distant or withholding. It is immediately available to you through your consciousness. When you speak words of abundance, you are aligning your individual consciousness with divine consciousness. You're attuning your mental radio, so to speak, to the frequency of prosperity that already exists in spiritual reality. The material world then rearranges itself to reflect what you've claimed in consciousness. This is why Shin said you don't create prosperity. You reveal it. You don't make something happen. You allow it to manifest by removing the mental blocks that were preventing it. The mental blocks are your limiting beliefs, your poverty talk, your fear-based thinking. These create static that prevents you from receiving what Divine Mind is constantly broadcasting. When you write a prosperity script and speak it with faith, you're clearing the static. You're removing the blocks. You're opening the channel. And then divine intelligence, which Shin called your lavish giver, pours abundance into your life in ways that often defy logic. She documented cases of people receiving money from impossible sources, inheritances from relatives they didn't know existed, job offers for positions that weren't advertised, business opportunities that appeared out of nowhere, debts forgiven, bills paid by mysterious benefactors. These aren't fairy tales. These are demonstrations of spiritual law in action when someone aligns their consciousness with divine abundance. Here's another principle Shin taught that's essential for scripting your year. You must write your script from the consciousness of already having, not from the consciousness of wanting or needing. There's a massive difference. When you say, "I want to be prosperous," you're affirming lack. You're stating, "I don't currently have prosperity." When you say, "I need money," you're impressing your subconscious with neediness and scarcity. But when you say, "I am abundantly supplied," I have more than enough. All my needs are met. You're claiming present reality even if your bank account doesn't yet reflect it. This is what Shinn meant by living from the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is spiritual reality where your good already exists. The third dimension is material reality where it hasn't yet appeared. When you script from the fourth dimension, speaking as if you already have what you desire, you command it to manifest in the third dimension. This is exactly what that woman in 1929 did. She didn't write, "I hope 1930 will be good." She wrote, "I see myself in 1930 already prosperous." She claimed it before she saw it. And the physical manifestation followed her consciousness. Shinn wrote, "You must act as if to be as if. If you want to be prosperous, you must think, speak, and feel prosperous before the evidence appears." This isn't illusion, this is faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you script your prosperity with faith, you're creating substance in the invisible realm that must eventually take form in the visible realm. Now let me address the question of timing, because some of you are wondering why Shinn emphasized writing your script before then. Why not wait until January? Here's the spiritual truth she discovered. Transitions between time periods, especially the transition from one year to another, carry unique spiritual energy. It's as if the universe takes a breath, the old cycle completes, and there's a moment of pure possibility before the new cycle begins. In that moment, your consciousness is more malleable. Your subconscious is more receptive. The veil between current reality and potential reality is thinner. This is why so many spiritual traditions have rituals around the new year. They understood intuitively what Shinn taught explicitly. The threshold between years is a PowerPoint for setting intention and commanding your future. When you write your script in the final days of December, you're planting seeds in spiritually fertile soil. You're making declarations when Divine Mind is, in a sense, listening most attentively. You're claiming you're good at the exact moment when new possibilities are being born. And then as the new year begins, you carry that script forward as your operating system for the entire year. Every day, you speak it. Every challenge, you reference it. Every doubt, you return to it. It becomes the lens through which you interpret everything that happened. And gradually, sometimes suddenly, your external reality begins to match the script you've been faithfully speaking. Shinn gave another example that illustrates this perfectly. A man wrote a script in late December claiming divine guidance in his business decisions for the coming year. He declared, "I am divinely inspired in every choice I make. I see opportunities others miss. I am led to profitable ventures. I make wise decisions that bring abundance." He spoke this script daily, starting December 26th. In mid-January, he had a business decision to make that logically seemed risky, but he had a strong inner knowing that it was right. He followed that intuition directly because of the script he'd been speaking about divine guidance. That decision led to the most profitable year of his career. The script had created an expectancy in his consciousness that made him more sensitive to divine guidance. He was listening for it because he had claimed it. This is why your script must be comprehensive. Don't just script financial abundance. Script divine guidance. Script peace. Script health. Script meaningful relationships. Script purposeful work. Script joy. The quality of your life in 2026 will be determined by the quality of the script you write in the next few days. Shinn taught that you are the artist of your life. Divine Mind provides the canvas and the paint, but you decide what picture you create. Most people paint by default using old patterns and unconscious beliefs. But you can paint deliberately, consciously choosing every element of your masterpiece. Let me give you one more case that shows the dramatic difference a prosperity script can make. In December of 1937, two women attended the same Florence Scovel Shinn workshop on scripting the new year. They were similar in age, education, and financial situation. Both were struggling. Both were anxious about 1938. Shinn taught them the scripting process. One woman embraced it fully. She spent the final week of 1937 writing and speaking a detailed prosperity script. She declared abundance, opportunity, divine guidance, and perfect self-expression for 1938. The other woman was skeptical. She wrote a script half-heartedly, but didn't truly believe it. She continued speaking her usual poverty talk and expecting struggle. By the end of 1938, their lives looked completely different. The woman who faithfully spoke her prosperity script had manifested a new job, increased income, unexpected windfalls, and a sense of peace about her finances. The skeptical woman was still struggling, still anxious, still speaking lack. Same workshop, same teaching, completely different results. The difference wasn't in the technique, it was in the consciousness behind it. One woman used her words with faith and authority to command her good. The other woman used her words habitually to perpetuate limitation. Shinn said repeatedly, "It is done unto you as you believe." Your demonstration is always a perfect match for your consciousness. So here's my question for you. What are you believing about 2026? More importantly, what are you speaking about 2026? Because your words right now, today, in these final days of December, are writing your script. If you keep saying, "I don't know how I'm going to make it," you're scripting struggle. If you say the economy is terrible, "I'm probably going to lose money," you're scripting loss. But if you start saying, "I am divinely supplied in 2026, money flows to me easily, I am guided to perfect opportunities," you're scripting abundance. The choice is yours. Divine Mind doesn't judge your script as good or bad. It simply manifests whatever you claim with conviction. This is the awesome responsibility and the extraordinary power you possess. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are a creator of reality through your consciousness. Shinn wrote, "You have a cartload of blessings coming to you on the path of your word. Every positive, faith-filled word you speak is a magnet drawing. Every negative, fear-based word you speak is a barrier blocking your supply." This week, this final week of 2025, you have the opportunity to eliminate the barriers and open the floodgates. You can write a script so clear, so faith-filled, so aligned with divine truth that 2026 becomes the year everything changes. Let me be specific about what to include in your script. Script your ideal financial state with numbers if possible. I earn specific amount annually. I have specific amount in savings. I am debt-free. Script your ideal work situation. I do work I love with people I respect. I am valued and appreciated. My talents are recognized and rewarded. Script divine guidance. I am divinely led in every decision. I know what to do and when to do it. I am never confused or uncertain. Script peace and joy. I live in financial peace. I am grateful and happy. I enjoy my life. Script generosity. I have abundant resources to give and share. I bless others from my overflow. Script health. My body is strong and healthy. I have energy and vitality. Make your script as detailed and vivid as possible. Remember, you're not describing current reality, you're commanding future reality. And then, this is critical, you must speak this script with authority, not timidly, not hopefully, but with the conviction that comes from knowing you are a child of divine mind with full access to infinite supply. Shinn taught that when you speak with authority, you activate the creative power of the universe on your behalf. Your words become law in the spiritual realm and must eventually manifest in the material realm. This isn't arrogance. It's understanding your true nature and identity. You're not a powerless human begging for scraps. You're a spiritual being with creative authority, speaking what already exists in divine reality into material form. If you've made it this far, it's because your soul recognizes truth when it hears it. And I want you to know this isn't accidental. Divine prosperity exists for people who are ready to align their consciousness with the spiritual laws that govern abundance. People who understand that prosperity isn't just about working harder, it's about thinking differently. This isn't just another finance channel teaching budgets and investments you can find anywhere. This is where we explore the metaphysical principles Florence Scovel Shinn taught that transform financial reality from the inside out. If you're ready to activate divine supply in your life, subscribe to Divine Prosperity and turn on notifications. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we release new teachings on spiritual laws of abundance, the power of the spoken word, and how to dissolve prosperity blocks. Not theory, practical application. because what you believe creates what you receive, and what you speak manifests in your life. Next video, we're revealing Florence Scovel Shinn's emergency prosperity treatment for immediate financial relief when you need money fast. Your prosperity is divinely ordained. The choice to claim it is yours.